Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
Smooth stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Alpha Touring Challenge, Season 9 of North America's largest front-wheel drive series. We are at the beautiful Barber Motorsports Park in Leeds, Alabama, getting ready for a great night as we've got round 7 of the season. My name is James East, filling in on behalf of Mason Heimbaugh, who is in our thoughts. On behalf of Team Good Squad Broadcasting, bring the action to 1080p, 60 frames a second. As right now qualifying about to wrap up under the beautiful Alabama sun. We've got 25 drivers who have come out for the main event, and it is going to be a good one. Let us know in the spectator area on YouTube where you're from, who you're cheering on, as drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor. If not, they just about always go back and watch the action once more. And what a great shot of Charlotte, aka in the Charlotte's Web corner here at Barber. This track known for its golf course-like manicured terrain, as well as some very unique sculptures all throughout the track. Now the iRacing scan, not quite the most modern version of what is currently at the track, but still doing a good job as we see Barney, our flagman, throwing the checkered flag and waiting for a few final drivers to finish their flying laps here at Barber Motorsports Park. Now it's going to be interesting coming into tonight. A very heated points battle. James Carr leads Micah Hendricks by 3 points. Can't count out Logan McKenzie, who runs third in the points championship, as it looks like all the drivers have finished up their qualifying session. Looks like Raymond Toe, one of the last drivers out on track in the 996 machine, as he makes his way up out of Charlotte's Web into the museum corner. It's going to be Dan McFarland, the fastest driver out on track with a 130.65, a full 0.3 faster than anybody else out on the circuit. Ooh, a little bit of a shimmy there from Raymond. And my favorite part about watching these TCR front-wheel drive cars fling themselves around a circuit is how aggressive these drivers can be over the curving, trying to squeeze out every little bit of time they possibly can as Raymond comes down pit road. So he will not be able to finish that flying lap. But we're going to get things ready as it looks like it's going to be a little bit darker here heading into this main event. As we get ready to run through your starting order, I'm going to do my best to get these names right. My first time calling the action here at the Alpha Touring Challenge. It's Dan McFarland in the number 1 spot. Micah Hendricks starting second. Logan McKenzie starting third. James Carr starting fourth. John Lawson starting fifth. Mike De Almeida starting sixth. Edward Gorman starting seventh. Matt Shepska, I'm sure I did not get that right, starting 8th. Damon Mitchell starting 9th. Ian Bertolucci starting 10th. Francois Schink starting 11th. Kurt Smith starting 12th. Cycled on back to Eric Staitzer starting 13th. Connor Achitelli starting 14th. Trevor Lambert-Lee starting 15th. Brian Saab starts 16th. Raymond Toe starting 17th. Kevin Clark starts 18th. Ben Aiken starting 19th. Christian Ost starts 20th. Randy Ayer starting 21st. Mark Darnell starting 22nd. Luke Filipina. Let's see, how do we say that one? Philippone starting 23rd. Corey Hudson starts 24th. And cycling back one more time, Josh Jabarek starting 25th to round out this field here today. "25 drivers making their way out. Waiting for a few more to join the grid. We're waiting on James Carr and Brian Saab. Carr, the number 19 machine, he's making his way in the grid. Looks like Saab is going to join as well. And here we go. We wait for the lights to come on and flicker off, and we'll be on our way here at Barber Motorsports Park. And we are green flag racing. Micah Hendricks with a great start, but I saw a big check up there from Logan McKenzie. We've also got problems. Ben Aiken. Oh, look at the 3-4 wide action. Into turns 2 and 3 down the hill. Not a lot of real estate here at Barber as they fling it up the right-hander. Micah Hendricks leads the field into Charlotte's Web. He's got Dan McFarland, Logan McKenzie in hot pursuit. We're seeing some reports towards the back. Damon Mitchell, Matt Chepska have fallen down a couple of spots. And here we go, side by side, Hendricks and McFarland into Museum. Hendricks gonna muscle his way as I just saw Mike De Almeida way off circuit, taking an alternative line there. I saw a little bit of contact. Looks like everybody's able to get through relatively unscathed. Mike Hendricks holds on to the race lead. McFarland in tow. They built up about a 3/4 second gap over McKenzie. We go a little bit further back in the field. Oh, we've got an off-track report. I believe it was James Carr with a big incident in the number 19 machine. And he may be losing a spot to Bertolucci in the number 51. Now, I haven't had the option to, or the invite quite yet to call a race for Alpha Touring Challenge in the past, but I've been watching the shows that Mason puts on, and these guys are always elbow out and willing to send it, as there's going to be a big pile up in one. That's going to be Ben Aiken, Trevor Lambert Lee involved in that one. Now, thankfully, these front-wheel drive cars are pretty tough, but it looked like they were starting to tip it in 3 wide into 1, and then synchronized drifting there. Now, Ben Aiken did take a tow back to pit road, so he is most likely done and out of this event. And it looks like it's going to be a 1-hour main event here at Barber. Yes, 1 hour on the mark. Now, drivers do have one fast repair in the back pocket, one get-out-of-jail-free card. As Hendricks and McFarland starting to pull away, as well as Logan McKenzie, the top 3 drivers starting to pull away here. They've got about a 1 second gap built up on the number 77 of John Lawson. Another report that James Carr had an off-track adventure. Oh, here we go, the battle for 12th. Connor Acitelli, Matt Chepska battling fiercely for the 12th place spot. Eric Staitzer, Raymond Toe also tied up in this. Logan McKenzie clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 1:31.48. Now, with it being my first time up here in the booth, I'm not quite sure what the fuel run is going to be for these drivers. From what I can recall listening to previous broadcasts, I'm fairly certain drivers will double stint their tires. As Edward Gorman making some moves here. He gets a little bit of a bump from Lawson 77. Francois Schink, that number 18 machine, watches that battle unfold. And let's see how this is going to shake up as they are side by side in the museum. Gorman holds on to it here, making that pass for P4. Lawson in 5th, Schink in 6th. Checking back in on race leader Micah Hendricks, the number 1 machine. Still has Dan McFarland stalking him in second, but keep an eye out. Logan McKenzie's been running very well here. I mean, he just set the fastest lap of the race on 138.48. Gonna be curious to see what he can do this time by if he can improve on that, because it looks like Hendricks and McFarland are linking up nose to tail as they cross the start-finish line. We wait for the times to update. And that time it's McFarland a 131.01. Let's call it a 131 flat. It can't get much closer than that. And McFarland all over the back of Hendricks here. We go on board McFarland charging up the hill. Is he going to take a shot into Charlotte's Web? No, he backs out of it to continue following Hendricks. Logan McKenzie trying to get back on the rear bumper to see if he can interject himself into the top 2. And there you just saw the second pack of drivers. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th. Gorman, Lawson, Schenck. They're running about 2.3 seconds back. Let's make it about 2 seconds flat behind the top 3 drivers. Let's check a little bit further back in the field. Connor Achatella and Matt Chepska battling for 12th. Oh, I just saw an off-track report, though. Edward Gorman had some sort of issues. He's going to lose even more time to the top 3. And while that's going on, Dan McFarland back within striking distance of Hendricks. We've got great racing all across the circuit here. As Hendricks sets his personal best as the tires start to come in. And things are a little bit dicey here in the battle for 12th. Achatella, Chetska, Statzer. Also Raymond Toe in the mix here. Looked like Toe was trying to go for a little bit of a high-low maneuver against Statzer in the 789 machine. Ooh, almost pushes a little bit wide there, charging up the hill. I've got to say, Barber Motorsports Park really lends itself well to racing these touring cars around. It's all about momentum. Now, they also run Indy cars here, but I think these are kind of the premier class that you could hope to run out there. As we watch Kurt Smith, the Canadian, the number 3 machine, looked like he was giving a little bit of bump to Bertolucci. Trying to pull up alongside that 51 machine, not quite able to make it happen. Right behind them, you can see Damon Mitchell and Mike De Almeida. Now it seems to me like Hendricks, McFarland, McKenzie, your top 3 drivers, and it should be worth noting McKenzie once again set the fastest lap of the race on 130.762. These top 3 have continued to pull away from Gorman, Lawson, Schenck, running 4th, 5th, and 6th. It doesn't seem like they're that interested in making any big lunges against each other. More apt to stay in line here and keep pushing towards the front and enjoying the clean air, or at least the clean air for Micah Hendricks. McFarland and McKenzie, they've had noses full of rear bumpers for the opening 6 laps here. Not a lot of hard chargers so far. Looks like it's going to be Francois Schenck in that number 18 machine, our current hard charger. Qualified 11th, now up to 6th out on the track. "24 of the 25 entries remain. As unfortunately Ben Aiken in that 623 machine forced into an early retirement. Kurt Smith, the number 3 machine. You can see Damon Mitchell, Mike De Almeida right behind. as there's good packs of racing all across here. Almeida right on the back bumper of Mitchell. Has to be careful not to get too close. Sometimes the old iRacing netcode can get these drivers in trouble. Natchetska trying to put the pressure on Achitelli, still in that battle for 12. Let's see if we can go on board with Raymond Toe. That 996 machine. He's got a pretty good view of that 3-car battle for 12th right ahead of him here. And a good perspective as well to show you how blind the sum of the corners are here as we watch Toe head over the bridge into the final 2 corners. And look how tight things are right ahead of him. Toe was working that car, trying to get that thing rotated. And we're seeing the lap times continue to improve here at Barber. Hendricks clicked off a 130.79 his last time by. That's his fastest lap so far. It's still McKenzie with a 130.76 is the fastest lap of the race. Oh, and it looked like Chetska came in very, very deep there behind Achitella. That is allowing Eric Staitzer in the 789 to close the gap as well. And it looks like we also have a battle between Kurt Smith and Damon Mitchell. That's going to be ninth. Smith in the number 3, Mitchell in the number 27 machine is there side by side. And got to be careful, Almeida. At number 6, he had good pace early on. He's currently down 5 spots from where he qualified. He's going to try and muscle his way through using a whole lot of grass there to help complete that. Or at least attempt to pass, not quite able to complete. And the field is stacking up a little bit here behind Smith. You've got Almeida, Achitella, Chetska, Staitzer. All nose to tail as we watch Damon Mitchell trying to get away. McFarland clicks off a 130.73. Edward Gorman has pressure from John Lawson. That's going to be the battle for 5th. Gorman up 3 spots so far. Lawson running exactly where he started, but let's go back as it looks like Almeida tried. Yes, he's going to make it happen as Smith pushes wide in Charlotte's Web. That's going to also give an opportunity for Achitella and Chetska to try and make a move. Such an important corner to get good drive out of as it's a long straight into the museum. Which, funny enough, isn't reflected in iRacing. The corner on screen, there's actually a huge motorcycle museum on the right side of the screen, left side of the track. It's a little odd not seeing it for a change. If you're just tuning in, we're watching a very, very heated battle for the top 10 here at the Alpha Touring Challenge Season 9, Round 7 at Barber Motorsports Park. States are trying to get a little bit further ahead, but we got a report. Who is that getting a little slideways? That was John Lawson, the number 77 machine, with Francois Schink and James Carr right in tow. Now, Carr is our current points leader in that number 19 Hyundai. We are just past the halfway mark of the season. So Carr trying to stay consistent here and maximize points. Micah Hendricks, your race leader, was second in points coming tonight. Logan McKenzie, third on track, was third in the championship battle. Chink looks like he really wants to facilitate that pass against Lawson. Your top three, it's still Hendricks, McFarland, McKenzie. Gorman rounding out the top five, accompanied by John Lawson. Now I'm seeing the display light up in the broadcast software. Micah Hendricks dipping a couple of more tires, triggering the off-track report just ever so briefly. We caught it out of the corner of our eye up here in the production booth. But you can tell he is definitely on the ragged edge. But it seems like these drivers fairly content running single file for the time being. Two of the closest drivers we have out on track, Kurt Smith, Connor Achatella. Oh, and Smith pushes wide. Achatella moves up into 11th. Here comes Chetska in the 490. Ooh, are we going to get three wide in the museum as they look like there's contact between the two? That was Smith and Chetska. Smith comes out on top, holding on to the 12th place spot. Chetska has company from Eric Staitzer and Raymond Toe right behind. It is anybody's guess how this one's going to shake up, but I'm very impressed with the caliber of drivers we have out here tonight. About a quarter of the way through this feature event, and we still have 24 of the 25 drivers out on track. Let's see, is Chetska in the 490 going to make a move against Smith into turn one here? Thinks about it, takes a look, and then hops back in line. Smith, beautiful into turn one. Chetska's going to lose about 2 or 3 tenths there. As Staitzer and Toe continue to watch right behind, hoping for a mistake, and the driver's right in front of them. Checking back in with Micah Hendricks. Still holding a quarter of a second over Dan McFarland. Logan McKenzie right there as well. A 3-car freight train, and these guys are absolutely moving. They've gained almost a 6.5 second gap over Edward Gorman in 4th. So I'm almost curious if these guys are just to be content running single file for a little while. And then we'll put on the boxing gloves late in the race to see who can bring home a top spot. Doesn't matter where we point the camera, there's great racing here at Barber Motorsports Park. Kurt Smith, Matt Chetska, Eric Staitzer, 12th, 13th, 14th. Raymond Toe has fallen back slightly in the 15th place spot, losing the draft of his competitors right ahead. Staitzer hops out of line, looks like he's going to send it to Charlotte's Web. Can he make the pass stick? The corner exit so important. Chetska's going to try and fire back here as they're side by side. That should set up Chetska for the next right-hander. Chetska will hold on to that position. Kurt Smith gaining a little bit of an advantage there. Pulls about a half-second gap between himself and those right behind. Let's see how quickly Chetska States or Toe can make up the difference there. Nose to tail, Hendricks and McFarland. McFarland hops out of line very briefly, but doesn't have quite enough to challenge Hendricks for the race lead. Man, nose to tail, Hendricks and McFarland. McKenzie still there, hunting as well. The gap continues to build up. James Carr, Francois Schink battling for the 6th place spot. Schink still up 5 positions from where he originally qualified, as he is our current hard charger out on track. But, I mean, these guys are so extremely consistent. We're not really seeing any big moves up or down as far as positions go. You have a battle there for 17th as they're bumping and grinding. Brian Saab, Randy Ayers. Battling for the 17th position. Ayers, the number 111, the 111 machine, has gained 3 spots so far, as it looked like he was going to have a big stint at the inside line. Caught a little bit curbing. He's going to lose some momentum. And now Kevin Clark's going to try and join the party in the number 89 machine. Let's see, Clark looks like he's trying to get set up for something here against Randy Ayers. Excuse me. Now, as we start to get closer and closer to the halfway mark of today's main event, that's where you're going to see driver attrition starting to become a factor. Even though it's quote-unquote just a sim, drivers are putting in a lot of work here to stay focused. And take it for somebody who's done an endurance race without forgetting to turn a fan on, it can get hot in a sim rig. Raymond Toe, the number 996, down pit road. He'll be the first driver completing a green flag stop here this evening at Barber. The top 3 continue a dominant performance. Corey Hudson also down pit road, the number 9 machine. So maybe a bit of an undercut for these drivers. It's going to be interesting to see if they can make it a one-stop race here. I mean, we'll know pretty quickly if drivers make it to the halfway mark, that 30-minute mark, if that is feasible or not. Hendricks really carrying some good slip angle in the number 1 machine. But Dan McFarland not giving Hendricks a chance to break away at all here. And McKenzie doing a great job as well in the 04. Staying right there with him. I want to take an onboard next time they're coming into turn 1. It almost sounds like Hendricks is aggressively grabbing some downshifts to help that car rotate. Unfortunately, we've got the word Raymond Toe has retired the 996 machine. What we thought was an undercut may have been an early retirement. So have not, I guess, not officially seen any green flag stops yet. We thought Toe was going to be the first, and then he has put it back in the virtual hauler. Now McKenzie's fallen off ever so slightly of Hendricks and McFarland. He's back by about 8/10, but let's go ahead and see if we can grab the onboard with Micah Hendricks. I want to listen to this car going into turn 1. So he's getting ready to make his way into the final couple of corners. And what happened right as we do? McFarland takes a gutsy pass for the lead out of the final corner. Is going to get credit for the lap led here at Barber. So McFarland helping to throw a little bit of excitement out there. Matt Chetska is down pit road. Will he be the first driver to officially have a green flag stop? But now it's McFarland, Hendricks, McKenzie, your top 3, exactly as they qualified. You can see the rotors glowing on the back of McFarland's machine. And we were a little bit worried about McKenzie, who was about 8/10 back, but all of a sudden he is right back there in the mix. Looks like McFarland pushes a little bit wide there. Let's see if Hendricks is able to capitalize. Looks like McFarland keeps the drive he was looking for. McKenzie with a big run here against the back of Hendricks number 1. Oh, and Hendricks, a little bit of a love tap. McKenzie, a little bit of a love tap to Hendricks there on the final corner. These front wheel furious machines handle a little bit of contact just fine, but they've got to be careful as McFarland extends that lead by about 8/10 as it looks like McKenzie pushes a little bit wide in turn 2. Maybe trying to get a little bit better drive down the hill. It's all about momentum in these machines. As I believe next time by, drivers will be shown the crossed green and white flag signifying the halfway mark of this feature event. We're watching James Carr keep the pressure on Francois Schink in the battle for 6. Carr, your points leader, down 3 positions from where he qualified. Schink is our current. No, he's no longer the hard charger. As he dips the tires a little bit aggressively off track, he's up 5 spots. It's going to be Christian Oates, the 157. He's up 6 positions, running 14th on track. Checking out the point standings to see where Oates is in the running of the championship here. Oates running 25th overall in the championship, 8th in the Delta class. As we do have a couple different class drivers out on track at the same time, and he is a rookie showing for this year. Rhodes doing a great job in the 157. Kind of in no man's land here. He's about 7.7 seconds back from Statzer and about 2 seconds up over Brian Saab, 52 machine. Brian running 15th on track. Dan McFarlane has found some speed as he is now almost a full second up over Hendricks and McKenzie. And I think he's going to be starting to run into lap traffic here fairly soon. Now a spattering of drivers have came down pit road early on. Chetska, Clark, Jaburek, Hudson, all down pit road between lap 15 and 17. And not too far ahead of Dan McFarlane, your race leader. Ooh, with a big off track there out of the final corner. And my oh my, McKenzie once again sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:30.59. But now for the first time tonight, McFarlane is going to be cutting through lap traffic on the same straightaway as him. That is 23rd place driver. No, excuse me, 22nd place driver Corey Hudson's number 9 machine. And we did get confirmation. The race leaders have been shown the cross green and white flags. We are past the halfway mark here tonight. Waiting with bated breath to see how McFarlane handles traffic. He's built up a 1.1 second gap over Hendricks and McKenzie, who are still linked up nose to tail. Philippone down pit road for his one scheduled green flag stop. Now I would imagine, unless McFarlane gets caught with traffic, gonna stay out as long as he possibly can. Corey Hudson pulling out of the way of the race leaders. He sees the blue flag and does not want to get tied up in any sort of misfortune here, as Hendricks and McKenzie still very racy in the battle for second, but this is allowing McFarlane to pull away. Now a 1.8 second gap over the second and third place drivers. Now, if McKenzie thinks he has better pace, he will try and work his way around Hendricks, but so far seems to be happy staying tucked in behind that number 1 machine. Francois Schink down pit road. Your top 6, really most drivers out on track at this time, have yet to come down pit road, seem to be content staying out there. So Schink is going to fall way down the standings as he is currently on pit road. Dan McFarlane has built up almost a 2 second gap over second and third place driver. Oh, he's going to lose a whole lot of time there. He pushed wide out of Charlotte's Web, losing over a half second with that little mistake. Now, for the fans listening along at home that are following with the adventure of Mason Heimbaugh and his recent misfortune, we did just get an alert that he is off the ventilator and he is talking and eating. So fantastic news out of one of our favorite producers here at Team Goon Squad. Hendricks holding on to that second place gap. Lawson down pit road, the number 77. Panning a little bit further back. Bertolucci running in the 6th place spot, up 4 spots. Still has a bunch of pressure from Damon Mitchell as well as Mike De Almeida. Also looks like Connor Achatella starting to close that gap with the number 55 machine. Now, going to be curious to see the top 11 drivers have yet to come down pit road. Going to stretch those tanks as empty as possible and expecting to see some hot laps here, as this is where the drivers will feel the most confident as far as clicking off fast lap times. The lighter the load gets in these machines, the less fuel, the faster you can go till the end, and that's a double little play there as they get deep into the run and drain those tanks till empty, wait until the last second to come down pit road. That also means they're going to take less fuel to make it till the end. As McFarlane clicking off laps and making it look easy, he's been very consistent here. As we've got a little bit over 20 minutes left to go here at the Alpha Touring Challenge at Barber Motorsports. And McFarlane's going to come down pit road. Hendricks will follow, but McKenzie also down pit road. No, excuse me, McKenzie stays out. It was Edward Gorman coming down pit road in the 137. So McKenzie will get credit for a lap led here at Barber. That may very well mean he thinks he has the pace to run up front. Or maybe a little bit of fuel saving to give himself the best track position. James Carr also staying out. Goes McFarlane, Hendricks, Gorman, Bertolucci all down pit road, as well as Kurt Smith, the number 3 machine. McKenzie, Carr, Mitchell, Almeida, and Achatella opt to stay out to make up the new top 5. Christian Ost also down pit road with Trevor Lambert-Lee and Mark Darnell. Now, something interesting has happened. Yeah, Kurt Smith briefly showed as the race leader, but I knew that wasn't correct. Now let's see if McKenzie does not come down pit road. I think he is as he sets up wide. No. Diving back into the final 2 corners. I'm curious to see what McKenzie's lap time is here, as he's got nothing but clean track ahead of him. James Carr down pit road. Last time by it was a 130.74 for McKenzie. a 130.8, so does not improve, but staying very consistent here. Only 2/10 off of his fastest lap of the race. Accompanying car on pit road is going to be Damon Mitchell and Connor Achatella. Mike De Almeida staying out in the number 6 machine. Eric Staitzer also down pit road in the 789. Little bit of lap traffic there for McKenzie. So it looks like it's just McKenzie and De Almeida who are staying out for quite an overcut. Drivers are averaging between 13 and 17 seconds on pit road, or in their pit stall, I should say. About a 45 to 50 second total pit lane time. As there we go, McKenzie gets set up for his one and only pit stop. 19 minutes left to go in this main event. So let's pan the camera back to Dan McFarland. How is this going to play out into the race lead? McFarland spent 15 seconds in his pit stall. Mike De Almeida also down pit road. Who is going to be the race leader after these pit stops are completed? McFarland out of the final corners. McKenzie out of his pit stall in 13.4 seconds. And there we go as they're side by side. McKenzie is going to be hot on the tail of McFarland, gaining almost 2 full seconds on pit road. That is exactly what McKenzie needed. And I think I saw a flash of the headlight there to McFarland. A little bit of a virtual hand out the window saying, hey buddy, look who's back. So let's see, McFarland has pressure for the first time in a hot minute. The pit stops are all completed, so these drivers should be able to run everything out till the end. I believe that's going to be about 23 drivers still on the lead lap here. Let's pan a little bit further back. The battle for fourth, a 3-car battle for fourth. You've got Carr, Gorman, Lawson, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I just saw Francois Schink, the number 18 machine, not too far back as well. Now, Dan McFarland, your race leader, pulling that gap further to his advantage, now back up to 8/10, gaining a few tenths of a second on McKenzie that last lap, but that was also McKenzie's out lap, so maybe he's going to get a little bit more comfortable here. Gorman trying to keep the pressure on Carr, tucked in right behind, 0.2 of a second, separating these drivers battling for fourth. John Lawson, that number 77 machine, looking for any sort of mistake, and we really haven't seen many of those here tonight at Barber in Alabama. These drivers have been extremely consistent for the opening 3 quarters of this main event. Hendricks clicks off the fastest lap of the race while sitting in third, a 1:30.58, a hundredth of a second faster than Logan McKenzie's fastest lap of the race, but good to see Hendricks still putting down burners of a lap time in third. Hendricks qualified second, currently third on track. He's about 2 seconds back from McKenzie, so he's going to have to hope for some sort of mistake out of that 04 machine sitting in second, but McKenzie's got his eyes forward right now. He's within a half second of McFarland. McFarland must have had a bobble there coming out of museum as McKenzie closes it within a half second, so McKenzie all eyes ahead on that number 23 machine. Now McFarland's sixth in points, so McKenzie surely knows he doesn't necessarily need to beat McFarland here to have some good race results. But you know how racers are, they're going to hammer down. As we've got lap traffic hopping out of the way for the race leaders. McKenzie closing that gap. It was briefly down to about 0.3 of a second. As we've whittled it down to 21 drivers on the lead lap. On board, Logan McKenzie in the 04 machine. It's Hyundai versus Hyundai in the top two spot. He's within striking distance, about 0.4 back, as he flicks it into the museum corner. On the gas, tires chirping for Logan McKenzie. Down through the back chicanes in front of the spectator hill. Now McKenzie really wants the points here tonight. He's racing with Yellow Flag Motorsports. Wants to try and edge out Curb Your Enthusiasm Autosport, a great team name, by the way. I think my favorite team name, though, got to be Breakfast for Dinner. They're currently third in points. So the recap, it's Curb Your Enthusiasm Autosport, first in points in the team standings. Yellow Flag Motorsports, second in points. Breakfast for Dinner, third in points. Real Friends Racing currently fourth. And Sim Racing Grid, fifth in points here at the Alpha Touring Challenge. The field fairly calm out on track at this point. Two closest battles we have is McFarland and McKenzie, separated by 0.4 for the race lead. And then we go back to the three-car battle for fourth. That's Carr, Gorman, and Lawson. Separated by less than a second for the three of them here. Still 23 of our 25 entries out on track. And look at that, McFarland. Another heater of a lap time, a 1:30.47. The pace just keeps dropping here. And he put about 0.2 on McKenzie that last time by. So McFarland definitely feeling good late into the run. McKenzie staying right there with him, a half-second back. And again, I think McKenzie knows that just finishing second would be a great points night for him in that 04 Yellow Flag Motorsports backed machine. As McKenzie has the opportunity to put points on both Carr and Hendricks. Now Hendricks doing a good job running third, so a good points night for him. He's going to kind of minimize the points loss here. James Carr, your points leader, he's sitting fourth as well, so it's all about consistency in Season 9 here at the Alpha Touring Challenge. McKenzie clicks off his fastest lap of the race on 1:30.51, so answering back for McFarland. We've got less than 10 minutes left to go in this main event. So the race-winning question. Does McKenzie think he has the pace to bring home the win here? Or is he going to watch and wait behind McFarland? And if he does think he has the pace, when is he going to make that move? The lap count rapidly dwindling. They've got maybe 4 or 5 more laps left here. McKenzie doesn't want to show his hand too early. McFarland, we know he has pace. He qualified on pole. But definitely have to attribute McKenzie the great pit strategy that put him right back in the hunt. You can see Micah Hendricks, he's about 2.3, 2.4 seconds back from these top 2 drivers. McKenzie going for a bit of a high-low move, trying to carry as much corner speed as he can out onto the start-finish line straight, but McFarland gets through just a little bit cleaner, gaining about 2/10 to his name. McKenzie going to try and use that draft to suck back up to the back of that number 23 machine as they charge down turn 1. Less than 8 minutes left to go. Let's call it 7 minutes left to go in today's main event. It's McFarland and McKenzie separated by a half second, the top 2. Micah Hendricks rounds out the top 3. And then James Carr and Edward Gorman making up the top 5 here today. Does McKenzie have anything left in the tank? Every time he puts down a fast lap time, it seems like McFarland immediately answers. These drivers are so incredibly consistent. They're fighting for 100th of a second here, 100th of a second there. Let's see what the lap times update to. McFarland once again sets the fastest lap of the race. McKenzie answers with his personal fastest lap on 1:30.45, but looks like McKenzie pushes a little bit wide there. He's going to lose 3/4 tenths to McFarland. McFarland charging up the hill, the short straightaway before Charlotte's Web. Almost wondering if McKenzie went into turn 1 a little bit hotter than he was expecting, as McFarland makes it almost a full second advantage over McKenzie. McFarland looking very smooth, the number 23 machine. He came into tonight 6th in points. He missed round 4, but is very much back in the hunt. Now Carr, Hendricks, McKenzie, the top 3 in points. They have made every round so far. Let's see, does McFarland set off another fastest lap time of the race? I wouldn't be surprised. A 130.52, so not quite able to improve on his best. But now he's got more lap traffic ahead. Luke Filippone down pit road. The second stop of the night at number 11 machine, so a little bit uncharacteristic there. Might have had some damage, and he takes a tow to pit road, so he definitely has some sort of issues. I think that's going to be Corey Hudson, the number 9 machine, about to go a lap down here as McFarland and McKenzie. Oh, well done there to Hudson. Sees the race for the lead going on, sees the blue flag, opts to hop off the racing line and let these guys go, helping to facilitate that pass as quickly as possible. As we've got 4 minutes left to go, McFarland and McKenzie gearing up for a shootout here at Barber. Still racing going on though. Christian Oates, Connor Achatella battling for 16th. Achatella came down pit road twice for some reason, and all over the back bumper of Christian Oates. That 157 machine up 4 spots from where he started. But here comes Achatella, diving in deep on the brakes, and Charlotte's Web isn't quite able to get a nose in. Oates will hold on to it. Very impressed with the racing we've seen from these drivers so far tonight. Again, I've watched these shows in the past with Mason Heimbaugh calling the action. First time in the production booth for these drivers, and absolutely loving what I'm seeing. From start to finish, it has been great racing all across the field. And as it gets ready to go, 2 minutes left to go, we check back in on Dan McFarland. You can just see Logan McKenzie on the right side of your screen. McFarland holding a 9/10 advantage over McKenzie. Now I'm trying to see. This would be Dan McFarland's first win of the season. If he can make it happen. Less than 2 minutes left to go as McFarland crosses the line, a full second up over Logan McKenzie. Both drivers with 1:30.5 second lap times. McFarland just has to stay consistent here, and he is looking good to bring home his first ever race win. Or season win, I should more aptly say. And McFarland may be able to interject himself back into a championship battle. Less than a minute left to go here at Barber. I think McFarland is going to do one more lap, as he's going to cross the line before the checkered is shown. It'll be mighty close, but yeah, I think McFarland's going to do another lap here. So this should effectively be the white flag lap for the race. And McFarland keeps getting faster, a 1:30.31. Oh, a huge lockup though, heading down the hill. No, that is Achatella. Had a huge moment. I thought it was McFarland with a big lockup. thankfully that wasn't the case. Thankfully not involved in somebody else's incident as well. That would be gut-wrenching for the number 23 machine. Now I'm trying to see here. This would be, I believe, Dan McFarland's first ever win here at the Alpha Touring Challenge. And this will be his 23rd start so far of the season. As he makes his way around the final two corners, Dan McFarland picks up his first Alpha Touring Challenge win here at Barber Motorsports Park. Logan McKenzie will bring it home in second. And Micah Hendricks will round out the top three. We're going to try and get these drivers up here to the waiting room as McFarland soaking in the moment here. A very well-deserved win. First ever win. As you see other drivers flashing the high beams, giving a little bit of celebratory to their friend, the thumb out the window. But we've got Logan McKenzie in the waiting room. We are waiting on McFarland and Micah Hendricks. As Dan McFarland down pit road and thoroughly living in the moment here. We're going to get these drivers up here to victory lane. We got McFarland. Now we're just waiting on Micah Hendricks and that number 1 Curb Your Enthusiasm machine. Interesting. I can't. Right, there we go. So we'll get things started off with Micah Hendricks, the number 1 machine. Micah, welcome back. A live interview for a change. Good to have you up here, my friend.
Yeah, good to be back. It's been a handful of races without being up here, so nice to be back.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I mean, a great run here. Qualified in second, still brought home a third. So a good points night for you and the Curb Your Enthusiasm team, and able to gain a little bit of ground on James Carr, who came into tonight leading the championship.
Yeah, seemed to have good enough pace to secure third, but just missing a little bit to fight for the win overall. So, but not too bad.
Now, Micah, is Barber a track that you've had a bunch of laps on in the past? It's normally not well received from from the iRacing official audience, but what was your point of view?
But the track always races pretty well, especially in these cars. It's got the right straightaways, the right braking zones, to really make racing a lot of fun. So to answer your initial question, I don't have the only laps I've ever turned here are from league races for ATC. So I actually don't, I've never ran it in anything else.
Well, awesome. Mike, it's good to have you back up here in the top three. A great points night for you and the team. Before I let you go and celebrate with the rest of the hooligans, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make it happen for you?
I think first off, I give a shout out to Dan for his first win. Pole position. Thankfully, I got the whole shot. Was able to lead a couple laps, but he just had him and the Elantra. Just had way too much pace for me to handle with. So great race from him to make the pass and then stay ahead of Logan with a little bit of strategy there. So really looking forward to seeing what the next couple races are going to be. And then shout out to Francois Chink for setup stuff, just giving me good setups week in, week out. And just overall shout out to everybody on the CA Motorsports team.
Awesome, man. Always great talking to you. Micah, hope to have you back up here next week.
Absolutely. Hope to see you. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. That was Micah Hendricks bringing it home. And third, up next, the man himself, Logan McKenzie, joined us in the second place spot. Logan, beautiful pit strategy out there tonight.
Oh, yeah, it was, man, the crew did an amazing job. The fuel saving went exactly to plan. Dan was just too fast for us today, but wow, coming out right behind Dan felt really good, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, did you set that up on purpose? You gained almost 2 full seconds on that pit stop.
Yeah, so I noticed, Dan and Micah had their little scuffles in front of me, and I wasn't fast enough to really, I wasn't going to do any better than Dan was, so I was fuel saving the whole time. It was very tough to keep up with them and fuel save. I was glad when I didn't have to do it anymore, but I saved 2 full laps, and that's a whole lot of less fuel they got to put in the car at the pit stop too. So that's where all that time comes from, and it almost worked.
Well, I'd say it definitely paid off very well for you. Now, Barber, a very technical track. Next week we go to Daytona, which is kind of hit or miss on how drivers view the racing there. What's your expectations heading out to the Super Speedway next week for the sprint round?
I really have no idea, because you think of Daytona and you think there's going to be some slipstreaming, but if you've driven these cars in their current state, they don't produce really any kind of, they don't punch a hole in the air. I bet coming out onto the oval in Daytona, going to the bus stop, that's going to be worth maybe a tenth or two a draft. So it's going to be interesting. People will be side by side in turn one. They won't be able to clear each other. There's going to be a lot of give and take with how big the track is.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, Logan came in tonight third in points, able to make some ground on both Hendricks and Carr for that Yellow Flag Motorsports team. You've got to be happy all the way around with how things went.
Yeah, great finishes from the team all around. Mike continues to just be so impressive with the pace, and Eric and Connor are always hanging out right there as well. Eric just on the outside of the top 10 is a great day for us points wise. And yeah, I beat everybody I wanted to beat today. James, Micah, Francois. Maybe Dan will sneak into the championship fight here, and I'll start wishing I had beaten him. But for now, I think I maximized today, and I'm super happy.
Awesome, Logan. Good to have you back up here, my friend. Before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to that helps make this second place possible?
Shout out to Gail Valero for his amazing Apex sets. I'm sure he gets plenty of appreciation for it, but he gets just as much flack. So now these sets are amazing. Crew with an amazing pit stop, and I just shout out to the whole team. We have such a laid-back, kind of chill team atmosphere, and it makes the races really enjoyable.
Awesome. Logan, good to have you up here. Hope to have you back again after the Daytona Sprint races next week, and always a pleasure talking to you, bud.
Thank you so much.
That was Logan McKenzie bringing it home in second, but up next for the first time in the top spot, welcome Dan McFarland bringing home, correct me if I'm wrong, the first career win here at ATC.
That's correct. This is my first win.
Well, dude,
I'm so
I mean,
excited.
congratulations. What put everything together for you here tonight at Barber? I mean, it's a technical track. It's not run a bunch of officials. I mean, you put it on pole, fastest lap of the race, and the win. You got the hat trick.
Oh man, I'm so ecstatic to finally get a win in ATC. I've been running with these guys for like a year now, and honestly, winning here like means the world to me. These are my favorite cars to drive, and these are some of the fastest guys in TCR, and some of the greatest guys to race along with.
Yeah, I mean,
but here at Barber, man, this track is so good, and I think it's a little underrated. I've always really liked this track, and my teammate and I actually worked on a setup for a league race back in the spring, so I kind of did some tweaking to that, and then I think that the hot track kind of played to my favor as well.
well, I mean, it definitely worked out well for you. Pennsylvania native. I was going to ask you if this track was local to you, but as a Pennsylvania native, not even close. I mean, have you ever driven Pittsburgh International before?
No, no. This is it's one of those things. The further the track away from me is, then the faster I am there for some reason.
Well, it seems like, we got to book some stuff in Hawaii in the near future. But, Dan, I know you're absolutely pumped to bring home that first career win. So, very cool. I know you and the team are very ecstatic. Now, suddenly looking at championship contentions in that 23 machine.
Oh, big time! Like I said, I'm so excited to finally get a win here. And shout out to everybody who races in the AlphaTauri Challenge. I mean, it's an incredible field, some incredible guys. So I'm definitely, this is definitely a highlight of my iRacing career, getting a win here.
Well, Dan, well said. I'm getting pumped to have you up here. It's definitely something nobody can ever take away. And for the first time, hopefully you have many more times to come, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout-out to?
Oh, man, I got to give a shout-out to Sim Racing Grid, my driving partner, David, who helped set up the car. He knows way more than me. And obviously all the other Sim Racing Grid guys, unfortunately, they weren't able to make it tonight. But still brought home the win for the team, which I'm super excited about. And of course, shout out to Mason, keeping him in my thoughts. Great guy. Miss having his voice calling my name. Hope to hear from him soon.
Awesome, Dan. Very, very appreciated both on my own accord as well as Mason and his family. We appreciate you. Congratulations on the first win, and hope to have you back up here very often, my friend.
Thank you.
On behalf of the AlphaTauri Challenge, my name has been James East, filling in for Mason Heimbaugh. Thank you all so much to the fans, friends, and family coming out to Barber Motorsports Park, cheering on the AlphaTauri Challenge drivers, and supporting the show. We'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.